In this video, I'm going to show you 4 different ways to cut beadboard. So here we've got our piece of beadboard. This is just a sample offcut that we're going to use to trial out all the different ways of cutting it. So you can obviously use a jigsaw with a wood cutting blade. I've got a Bosch T101D blade in this because I prefer those. So we've got a jigsaw, we've got a handsaw, we've got a circular saw, and we've got an oscillating multi-tool. So I'm going to cut through this bead and butt board with each one of these so you can see how neat the cut is and how long it takes to do each cut. So first one up for test, we're going to use the traditional handsaw. We're going to mark a line, we're going to do a cut, and we're going to see which of these tools is going to be best for your particular project. Sometimes a handsaw is suitable if you're making a lot of straight cuts. So we're just going to use our square to draw our line. We're going to put a few lines on here, and then we're going to test out all our different tools. So first up for test, we've got the traditional handsaw. Now these always cut on the forward stroke, so that's just a little tip to use that faster. We start off just creating a little nick, and I always like to keep my thumb at the side of the saw. That way I know I'm not going to cut myself. I'm keeping my thumb on this part of the saw, so I have full control. Create a little nick by pulling on the back stroke as the saw cuts on the forward stroke. And it's always better to keep your saw at a shallow angle because it gives you a neater cut. If you start cutting at a steep angle, you can move your board all over the place. So I'm going to do this under time pressure, and I'm going to cut through this bead board as neatly as I can using a handsaw. So we've got a nice neat cut there with our handsaw. I think this bead board is 3/8 thick. So if I was using this around a breakfast bar or a kitchen island, then I might just use a handsaw if I just one run to do. Second tool we're going to use to cut this bead board is a jigsaw. Now one benefit of the jigsaw above all these tools is that this can actually be used to cut curves, and you can actually scribe the bead board to meet up to other edges and things like that. But for the purpose of this demonstration, we're just going to do a straight cut with our jigsaw and time it to see how long it takes. I always like to cut from underneath because then the tear out is at the back. It leaves a nice clean cut on the face side. You can easily see your pencil line, and you're also never going to cut into anything behind. So I always use my jigsaw underneath. As you can see, jigsaw leaves a nice clean cut. It's actually cleaner than our handsaw, but it leaves a lot of tear out on the back edge. That's why I never use my jigsaw this way around, or it creates this kind of tear out on the front edge that we're going to see. Obviously you can mark on your bead board from the back and then cut through that way, but I always find it easier to flip my jigsaw around. We've also got a circular saw. This is brilliant for doing straight cuts only. You can't cut any curves with your circular saw. It's designed to run along straight. So we always start the circular saw away from our workpiece. We're going to cut right through, and once the piece drops off, we're going to wait for the blade to stop and then move our circular saw out the way. As you can see, circular saw gives us a cut there. It's a little bit rough on the top side, and actually again the neatest side is on the back. So really when we're using a circular saw, if we were going for optimal neatness, obviously that's quite neat, but if you want optimal neatness with a circular saw, flip your bead board over, mark it on the back, then cut with your circular saw. And then finally we've got the oscillating multi-tool. I'd only ever really use this to get into awkward spaces. I would never use my multi-tool to do long cuts. It's normally only designed for taking out little corners and things like that. But we're just going to time it and see how long it takes. I've got this set on the highest speed, and I've also got a wood and metal blade in. You want to buy a metal blade as you're going to be able to cut through wood and metal with this, whereas a wood and plastic blade will soon go blunt as soon as you hit a nail. As you can see, with a sharp blade, the multi-tool actually cut through fairly well, and as long as you keep your multi-tool in the groove, it's fairly easy to keep it in line. So, and that's the cut with a multi-tool. So there you go, you've got 4 options to cut through your beadboard. I hope this video has helped you choose the right one for you. If you found it helpful, drop us a like. If you use some other tools that I haven't mentioned here for cutting beadboard, let us know in the comments. And if you'd like to be updated with more of this kind of video, then subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.